And welcome to the special edition of Hannity. We are live in the Central Valley in California. This is some of the most fertile farmland in the entire country and helps sustain the entire country in terms of food, and what has become ground zero in a battle between environmentalists and whether or not the farmers in the Central Valley here have water. Ladies and gentlemen, this has become a dust bowl. And we came here tonight with a message for Washington and President Barack Obama. Please, for the sake of the farmers, where unemployment is now near 40%, please turn this water on now.
Hope is in the future. We are hungry for change. We will transform this country. We are ready to believe again.
All of those promises, all of that hope. And yet in the San Joaquin Valley of California, hope doesn't spring eternal. This land was once considered the breadbasket of America. Roughly 12% of our nation's agricultural output came from this valley between Bakersfield and Sacramento. But everything has now changed. Today, their water is gone, shut off by the government. And the same people whose cheers of hope and change echoed from this valley all the way to Washington have been abandoned in favor of a fish barely large enough to fit into the palm of your hand. The scene here today is more reminiscent of the Dust Bowl of the 1930s. Farms that once fed the nation are barren, the parched and cracked earth. It's right out of the grapes of wrath. Thousands have lost their jobs. They line up each and every day at unemployment offices for the chance merely to put food on their table. With all the money being spent on a failed stimulus, health care reform, and bailing out Wall Street banks, the solution here is relatively simple. Turn the water back on. Tonight, we tell you the story of how a government has failed its own people, how radical environmentalists threaten the American dream, and how a liberal agenda that promised so much has left so many great Americans behind. Welcome to the valley that hope forgot. And ladies and gentlemen, you are looking live at the thousands of people who have shown up here in the Central Valley in California. They want their farms back, they want their jobs back, and they want the water turned back on. Now tonight, you're going to hear from some of the politicians who are fighting on behalf of the citizens in this region. We will also talk to California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, and we'll even hear from an environmentalist who's actually defending the government's decision that are responsible for drying up this once fertile area. But first, we're joined by two people who have gone to great lengths to shine the light on this crisis. Comedian, activist Paul Rodriguez, radio talk shows from KMJ, KERN, Inga Barks. Thanks for being here, Paul.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks for seeing it. They told me there's 7 miles back. They can't even get in, folks. Well, first of all, Paul, you've been in this now, this fight, this battle. It has been going on for far too long. There has been a natural drought, yes, but they have all this water that they're sending to the ocean rather to the farms because of the Little Delta smelt. Can you explain what's going on?
Sean, I'm glad you're here because less than half a mile away from us right here, there's a canal that's full to the brim of water. Coming here, you see that. Right next to it, you see fields that are dry, that should be fertile right now. You know, I know in my heart that when the American farmer realized in Iowa and the other parts of America, they realize that we need help, they'll come to our aid simply because whenever our enemies get into trouble, if North Korea right now were to have an earthquake, I know that the first plane would be an American plane with aid there. They'll allow us to land, right? If we would have that kind of generosity towards our enemies, what wouldn't we do for ourselves?
And by the way, and I think you are the farmers that have sustained the entire country for decades. We have generations of farmers here, Inga, yes, and they're losing their farms. We have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of acres. We literally have, I met people earlier that now are on food lines because their farms have been shut down.
Yeah, no, that to me is the part that is the most immoral thing about all of this. We really are in the breadbasket of the world. We feed the world. Our food goes comes to third world countries and helps people. We are their main staples. We feed everybody here, and yet we have our own standing in food lines, and the food is coming in crates that say product of China. I mean, it's stunning.
It's a bad comedy. It's a bad joke. You know, there is no need for this. We're not asking the government for a rebate. We're not asking for a handout. We don't want to turn in our clunkers. Our old trucks work just fine. We want a farm.
That's right.
Let me ask you this. There's a political side of this, Paul. And by the way, we won't hold it against Paul, but you supported Barack Obama.
You have to bring that up.
But here, listen, I would like to put aside politics, because if Barack Obama tells his environmental extremists in his administration to stand down and turn the water on, he'll get the first credit from me, okay? So,
likewise,
have you reached out to the president? And
we have, Sean, right behind you, we have a letter that we wrote to the current administration saying, we realize you came in at a time when you didn't have it all. You know, we understand you came in handicapped. We're giving you the benefit of the doubt. I still have respect for the office of the president. But behind is a sign by every single mayor of every community here in the San Joaquin Valley. I think that should get some kind of attention.
But wait a minute, but he just had appointed this guy that is Sunstein, that is such an environmental extremist, that he wants to ban hunting, and he says that animals ought to have human representation in court.
You know, you couldn't write this, right?
No, you can't.
You can't write this. This is why I know that people who look more into the issue, that we realize, come on, you guys are making that up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not making this up, Sean. I'm so glad you're here, because the very person, you know, Senator Feinstein came here and had David Hayes, the Undersecretary of the Interior.
The Interior, right? Salazar came out.
Right, came out here. They said
nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Look at our fields.
And let me add, Sean, I'm sorry, President Obama never visited here when he was running, and he never visited here since. He knows what's happening here. He sends his people out. He makes his promises and platitudes.
I think the big issue
Would
here
he not have gone to Katrina the day after?
Well, but this really comes down to it. I don't know if we've explained this well enough, but in the course of this program, we're going to get into the specifics of this. Literally, the environmentalists and the Interior Department, they have all made a decision that, for example, the water can be pumped here, but to defend this little 2-inch Delta smelt fish, they have decided that the farmers come second and the Delta smelt comes first.
In my heart, I can't find no other reason. But in my heart, I believe that maybe the president hasn't seen this. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, how long does he get the benefit of the doubt?
We don't have much time, but I still hold hope that at least he would look at a document. You know, I mean, but if that doesn't happen, we have no other choice but to scream loud.
But we've got we have the evidence of farmers now that have been providing food in some cases for generations, passed on from generation to generation. They're waiting for food. How much longer do we have to wait before they turn the water on?
In fact, ironically, environmentalists who hate development and growth, guess what farmers do with their land when they can't farm on it anymore? They sell it to people to build houses on. And this is what we're doing to these people. We're putting them out of business. And the only way they can make money is selling their land.
This is where you want to live, with no water. I can't wait to buy a house. This is the San Joaquin Valley, without a doubt, the most fertile. This is Canaan. This is the land of Canaan. This is the most fertile valley on the planet. This valley would feed the world. All we want is water.
I have some numbers. You guys grow more. If you look at the actual
We're the capital
numbers,
of everything. The capital of cantaloupes is here.
Almonds, cantaloupes, artichokes, olives, nectarines, grapes, strawberries.
Keep talking. And now, the only thing that grows here is despair. We got a good crop of that.
All right. Well, I want you to, Paul, you voted for Barack Obama. Maybe you're
not going to let this go away either.
I want you to look into the camera right there. And you talk to the president you voted for, the guy that's promised hope and change. What do you say to him?
Mr. President, with all due respect, we pray that you will read our letter and look at our dilemma. We don't want you to give us a loan. We didn't do anything wrong. We did everything right. We grew more food than anybody else with less water. And for that, our reward was you cut the water off. Come on, what's up?
And coming up, we have much more coming up on the program from the Valley that Hope Forgot, including a special interview. We're going to be joined by the California Governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and much more. Stay with us straight ahead.